Meanwhile, this week marks 15 years since Israeli soldiers and Jewish settlers withdrew from the Gaza Strip. The decision was controversial then and remains an issue to this day, with tensions between Israel and Hamas continuing to threaten the security of Palestinians and Israelis. Our Yotam Confino sat down with some of the key decision makers behind the decision to disengage from Gaza. Let's take a look.
Ariel Sharon, a hero among Jewish settlers in Gaza and the West Bank, and a hawk who promised never to concede territory. But as Prime Minister, Sharon became an arch-villain among his supporters when he changed his mind in 2004 about Israel's presence in the Gaza Strip.
I don't think anybody knows what was the reason for Ariel Sharon's shift, I would say even metamorphosis, that he went through during the years 2004, 2005.
I think that for many years, Ariel Sharon looked at Gaza as part of Israel's security. They need to be there, they need to control the sea from there. But during the time, he understood that there is no use to it.
Sharon's decision to pull Israeli settlers and soldiers out of the Gaza Strip unilaterally was highly controversial inside Israel, inside his Likud party, and in his own cabinet. Some ministers even voted against his Gaza withdrawal plan.
He summoned me for a very intimate meeting, and he asked me, he knew I'm not going to support him, but he asked me to abstain. And he made me feel that it's a personal request. It's not about the settlers anymore. It's not about policy. It's not about Israel. It's a personal issue that he stands between defeat and success. And I told him, Arik, you know, there are things that I cannot abstain. I cannot make a decision not to make a decision.
I was the one to blame because I'm the one that offered to the ministers, Likud ministers, including Netanyahu and two others that were against the disengagement, I offered them a kind of compromise that they could support.
Then Finance Minister Benjamin Netanyahu voted in favor of the withdrawal in Parliament, but conditioned his vote on a national referendum on the plan.
Benjamin Netanyahu, Be'ad.
A referendum that never happened. Netanyahu resigned a week before the settlers were evacuated in August 2005. The issue of dismantling Jewish settlements in Gaza and evacuating some 9,000 settlers drew hundreds of thousands of Israelis to the streets. For Jewish settlers, Sharon was now an enemy.
I arranged a meeting between the settlers and Ariel Sharon himself. And it was quite, wow, it was tough, it was very moving.
2 years after Israel left Gaza, Hamas took control of the Strip, chasing the Palestinian Authority out. Missile attacks on Israeli towns and villages bordering the Strip increased, and thousands of Palestinians and Israelis have been killed in several military operations between Hamas and Israel. And the question remains, was it the right decision to leave Gaza?
I felt then that it's a mistake, and now I know it was a big mistake because we didn't achieve peace, we didn't achieve any advancement with the Palestinians. On the contrary, we were perceived as, you know, running away for our lives, as surrendering, and it only gave Hamas more and more power to go forward and to make this place of Gaza as a kingdom of terrorism, Iranian-sponsored kingdom of terror. We will eventually have to go back all the way in and take over Gaza, because one day it will be impossible. One day there are going to be so many rockets and so many missiles that will be launched at us that Israeli public will not accept this kind of status quo. And it's going to be painful.
The story of Gaza is one of pain. And 15 years after Israel left, it still is.